They called it the cradle once. Earth, the birthplace of humanity. Now they call it the wound. After the fall, no species dared set foot there, even the Clarith, who devoured suns and laughed at radiation storms. Steer clear of Sol's dead orbit. Something had happened. Something worse than extinction. The last known transmission from Earth was a garbled SOS soaked in screams and static. It ended with a single phrase, whispered through blood and fire. We're still fighting. That was over 200 years ago. The stars moved on. Empires rose and fell. But Earth remained untouched, a quarantine war zone wrapped in a silence the universe didn't dare question. Until now, Dakor was no scholar. He was a salvager, grizzled, merciless, and greedy enough to accept a contract nobody else would. The job was simple on paper. Descend to Earth, retrieve a lost artifact buried in an old human command bunker, and get out. Easy credits. But Dakor had been around long enough to know. When something sounds easy, it usually kills you screaming. He broke the atmosphere in a rusted drop pod, hurtling through ash-choked skies toward what was once Europe. The surface looked like dry blood under perpetual twilight. Cities reduced to bone piles. Forests fossilized mid-scream. Time didn't flow here. It festered. The pod skidded to a halt near a broken ridge crowned with shattered statues of long-forgotten heroes. He stepped out, rifle drawn, atmosphere suit hissing against the cold. The air was breathable, technically, but tasted like regret. His destination lay beneath what was once called Bastion 9, a subterranean fortress built during humanity's final stand. Rumor said it was where Earth made its last transmission, where the dead still marched. Dakor descended. He didn't believe in ghosts, but he did believe in automated defenses. He expected traps, maybe dormant war drones. What he didn't expect were the whispers. They started faint, just under his breath, like someone mouthing words behind him. Then came the footsteps, always just out of sight, marching in perfect sync. He spun around. Nothing. The deeper he went, the louder they became. The walls wept rust. Shadows twisted in unnatural ways, elongated by a light source that wasn't there. His HUD glitched constantly, cycling through long-dead IFF tags. Lieutenant Mendez, Sergeant Holloway, Private Quan. Names. Human names. Hundreds of them. Then he reached the hall. It was massive, carved into the bedrock, lined with banners of the old Earth Defense Forces. The artifact pulsed in the center, a data core encased in alloy glass, still glowing with power. It should have been easy, but as he approached, he saw them. Figures. Transparent. Flickering. Soldiers in torn armor, their faces hidden behind shattered visors, standing in formation around the core. Their bodies were broken, some missing limbs, others bearing plasma burns or melted metal fused into bone. They didn't move. They didn't breathe, but they watched, and then movement. One stepped forward, dragging a ruined boot behind him. The others followed, weapons raised. Not real weapons. Phantom replicas of Earth's rifles and blades, but they shimmered with some unknown energy. Dakor raised his pulse cannon and fired. The bolt passed through the first figure, but the echo of the shot didn't. It exploded against the wall behind, shattering concrete. That's when he understood. These weren't mere holograms. These were echoes, imprints of humanity's final fury, caught in a loop of death and defiance. They weren't alive, but they weren't gone. And they were angry. Dakor ran. He sprinted down the corridors, but the layout twisted behind him. Hallways changed. Staircases vanished. Every exit led him back to the hall. The soldiers closer each time. He screamed into his comms. No response. They weren't trying to kill him. They were showing him. Each loop brought a new vision, a memory stitched into the walls. Humans fighting tooth and nail against invaders, refusing fall. One scene showed a mother using her body as a shield while her son fired a railgun through tears. Another revealed a dying commander detonating a fusion core rather than surrendering. They didn't lose. They chose the wound. Earth didn't fall. It locked itself in battle. A last, eternal counterattack, written into the bones of the planet. A recursive war, powered by the rage of the fallen. When Dakor finally collapsed in the hall again, the soldiers stood in a ring around him. The lead ghost extended a hand, not to strike, but to offer. The data core hovered toward him, not just coordinates, not just relics, memories, warnings. A weaponized history encoded in every scream, every scar, every final breath of humanity's last warriors. It wasn't meant for aliens. It was meant for us. Dakor took the core, and the soldiers saluted. Then the darkness swallowed him. He woke up weeks later, drifting in orbit inside his pod, the data core still pulsing in his lap. No fuel, no signal, just stars, and the war still raging far below. The core spoke to him now. It whispered names, stories, tactics no army had ever used. Technologies born from desperation. Every night he dreamed of Earth's ghosts training him, molding him, recruiting him. Humanity hadn't died. It had evolved. The next species that tried to conquer Earth wouldn't find a graveyard. They'd find a crucible. He transmitted one last message to the stars. Earth still fights. Stay away. Then he smiled and began to train. In the wound, the dead do not rest. They recruit. And the last thing Dakor heard before the static took him was a whisper, low and full of fire. Welcome to the war, soldier.